Welcome to Worth It or Worthless, a show where every couple weeks we pull a game from my own personal collection of retro games, take off our nostalgia tinted glasses and decide, is the game good by today's standards and is it worth the price of admission? We talk about what the game does well, what the game doesn't do so well, and things that are just plain weird. I'm your host Dan, joined as always by my friend Jordan. Jordan, what do we get into today?
Today we played Rampart for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Rampart is the story of the big brains at Atari realizing that you can take basically any game and make it better by adding Tetris to it.
Any game.
Pretty much.
How many?
Name a game.
Halo Infinite.
It's better if you add Tetris to it. Just imagine. Oh, I got this gun, and now it's shooting out different color, different
Tetraminos.
Tetraminos, and they do different amount of damage.
Oh, that sounds more like Fortnite.
It's a better game. It's a better game now.
It's like Fortnite where you're building with a BR.
Yeah.
Tetraminos. What?
Now, I know that every single person out there in the world who's listening to this already knows what Rampart is because it's just a revolutionary, game-changing game that really just spurred on the gaming industry and led us to where we are today. Yeah.
I had played Rampart extensively before you got it for me for my birthday last year.
Yeah.
I was actually last year before my birthday, I was like, hey, man, I would really appreciate it if you get me this game that I'm super passionate about.
Yeah, well, I actually remember your was it your 6th grade birthday or your 6-year-old birthday where you had a Rampart themed birthday party? For those of you who don't know what Rampart is, you might be out there and be like, what is Rampart? That's that weird Matthew McConaughey movie from like 4 years ago, right? No, you're wrong. It was a video game, an arcade game first, actually, that came out at some point. But Dan will give you all the fun facts. But if you don't know what just the basic game is, it's basically like a shooter, old school arcade shooter game, kind of like Missile Command or Space Invaders kind of. But imagine between rounds of shooting at people, you had to build a base out of kind of like Tetris pieces, like a bunch of different Lego pieces. You're building your base, and then you shoot, and then you build your base. That's what Rampart is.
Yeah.
And the reason we're playing this is because it's my fault. It's my fault we're pling this.
Jordan
No, don't make it a pun.
I'll work on it.
Yeah.
I'll figure out something by the end of the episode.
Is it the day this comes out is my birthday?
Probably.
Let's see. The day this episode comes out is my birthday.
Well, it depends.
That's true. If you're a Patreon person, you're getting this before my birthday. If you're just one of our many, many fine listeners who's listening on the day it comes out and not a Patreon subscriber, it's my birthday. And so I said,
Happy
Dan,
birthday.
I want to pick a game where let's play Rampart.
Yeah. When we played Rampart, we sure did.
Dan, had you ever even heard of Rampart before I told you about it?
I can't say that I had heard of it.
So this is my story about Rampart. Right before COVID, I was at an arcade and I experienced Rampart, and I was like, that was a cool game. I wonder if it exists on a home console. And then during the pandemic, I was playing a lot of the NES version of Rampart, and I kept telling Dan about how cool it was, and he wasn't really sure about it because it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing. And then I eventually was like, I just need to give this to Dan. So I gave it to him for his birthday. And then this year for Dan's birthday, I gave him something else too because I didn't want to give him Rampart 2 years in a row. But I also gave Dan Rampart for the Famicom this year. So he's got multiple copies of this game.
I'm wondering if next year I have the Genesis or the Super Nintendo.
Well, a lot of people
to look forward to.
A lot of people say that, I don't know if it's the Game Boy or the Game Boy Color version is like the best port of it. So you never know. Maybe that's coming next year.
Well, I don't have the Game Boy price written down, but it was the highest.
I know what it is because I considered putting it on my Christmas list. And then I didn't because it's really hard to explain to your family how to buy a used video game off of Amazon. It's just like a weird kind of thing. It's in, yeah. I'll save it for later. Instead. I'll save it for later.
Oh man, Jordan, this one, I guess we should transition to some fun facts.
I would love some fun facts.
I realize my notes are a little bit of a mess here, so I'm on Wikipedia on my phone because I forgot to write down the release dates.
Well, yeah, this is a good opportunity to mention our sponsor, Wikipedia. It's kind of a reverse sponsorship because instead of them giving us money, like we go to their website and they ask us for money like once a year.
It's going on right now too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a perfect time of year to go give Wikipedia some money.
I looked at my release dates and they're like 2004. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, 1990.
No, I know. And that's just it. I'm like, hold on. So to give you guys a peek behind the curtain in the Notes app.
Ooh,
Shout out
our former sponsor, the
shout
Notes
out
app.
to the Notes app. I copy and paste all of my notes from the previous episodes, and then I fix the stuff that I need to fix. So I have all these sections like what the game does well. I don't delete that heading. I just delete the information under what the game does well.
Seems inefficient, but all right, you do you.
Well, it's not inefficient because I've got all these fancy bullet points and bolds and underlines, and it's very organized.
It's just imagine all of the power tools that come with
Shout
the
out
Notes
to the
app.
Notes app.
Yeah,
man.
Notes app.
Seriously.
You don't get bold and headings in any other app, only in the Notes app.
You gotta love formatting text. You can even resize it.
It's amazing. Anyway, fun facts.
So anyways, I'm like, while you're talking, I'm like, I gotta look up Wikipedia on my phone.
I actually know the release stuff because there's something funny about this, Dan.
Oh.
If you look up Rampart, the original release date is going to say 1990.
Because the arcade version, right?
But it didn't actually come out until 1991. The copyright precedes the actual release date by a year. It's kind of weird.
So I think on the Wikipedia page, well, actually, I have it here.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I think it had a limited release in the U.S. in like October of 1990.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Seems like revisionist history. There's a lot of Rampart fans out there, so I'm sure somebody will set us straight.
Everybody's heard of this game. I want to find this. I'm mad I can't find this on the Wikipedia page. Anyways, all right. So the Wikipedia page, Jordan, says that this game came out in the U.S. on October 26th, 1990.
Well, I guess
I think it had a limited release. Like maybe they did like a trial run with the cabinets or whatever. Like,
oh, maybe, sure. We're writing fan fiction now.
well, didn't they do that with like Pong and stuff? Atari. It was Atari, right? So I think Atari, or maybe was that Donkey Kong?
Are we just listing off games now? Mario.
I think that was how Donkey Kong became a success. Was they were like, let's test this.
Yeah, did a limited release. Yeah. That sounds right.
So that might be it. And then, okay.
Similar levels of success between Donkey Kong and Rampart.
It's funny how long it's taking me to say these just simple release dates. Because I just noticed another thing. The Wikipedia release date says U.S. October 26th, 1990. And then it says North America, February of 1991.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's some sort of weird time slip going on here. Maybe this is like a Mandela effect kind of thing.
Yeah, it made its way up to Canada, down to Mexico, arcades, North America.
Okay, sure.
In February. And then in Japan and Europe, it came out in April of 1991.
That explains so much about the cultural revolutions of April 1991 in those regions.
Oh man, Jordan, this game is on a lot of platforms.
It seriously is on a lot of platforms. They ported this thing onto everything.
Yeah, so it was the Wikipedia page said ported to the Super Nintendo, the Master System, the Genesis, the Atari Lynx, and like a bunch of PC platforms. And then different versions were made for the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, NES, and Famicom.
Yeah.
So you have like 85 versions of Rampart.
Yeah.
I mean, if you count everything I just said, 85.
There's people out there who they only collect Rampart, but they have it for every system.
Shout out to our friend Tron on Discord who just posted a Reddit post of somebody who has over 2,000 copies of Sneaking for the Xbox 360.
Sneak King,
yes.
Yes. Like you mean the Burger King?
Yes.
Metal Gear Burger King. There's people like that who exist for every game. So I'm sure there's somebody out there who collects all the Rampart ports.
Well, you got the Pokemon collectors as well who collect all of the.
That one kind of makes sense. Like
Pokemon cards specifically, I think is kind of what they do is collect all of one Pokemon.
My theory on collecting is that all of it is silly. So you might as well collect something silly like Sneak King, the Metal Gear Solid Burger King game.
Yeah. Yeah. The game was developed by Atari. It says it was published by Atari and Namco. I think Namco was in Japan or something. And then the NES, the Super Nintendo, and the DOS versions were done by a company called Bitmasters. And the NES version was published by Jaleco?
Jaleco? And
And then the Famicom version was done by Konami.
Yeah, and then
So
I saw there's also a version EA got in on it at some point.
This is an entire hot mess of
Midway, it's published on the Midway Arcade collection, so they must have had something to do with it. Like literally every publisher was like, it's like if you ever read the history of Tetris and how everybody wanted Tetris, it's kind of like that for Rampart. Everybody wanted in on the on Rampart.
It's very strange because I don't know if this is true or if I'm making it up, but it feels like if it's one of those games that there's like 8,000 versions of it, you should probably have heard of it, but I had never heard of it before. You were like, let me tell you about Rampart.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
It's like kind of like there's bands out there that are like, most people don't know about them, but it's your favorite band's favorite band. And I like to think that Rampart is your favorite game dev's favorite game. We'll get there. Just hold on to that. Hold on to that spicy little nugget in your brain.
It's a spicy meatball.
No, it's a nugget. Wendy's spicy nuggets.
Jordan, I don't have any more fun facts.
That's enough fun. Let's get on to the serious parts.
All right, let's get into what the game does well.
All right, Dan. I guess we'll get into that spicy nugget right off the bat here.
Okay.
I think one of the coolest things about this game is that it was the first tower defense game. The first tower defense game. Like if you go on the tower defense Wikipedia page, shout out to our sponsor Wikipedia, and you look at
our sponsor.
The tower defense wiki, this is listed in there as the first tower defense game. Like they'll go and say like Space Invader, like they'll show like how the games got there, but then they say the first like prototypical tower defense game, Rampart.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because it's like I saw it was like it had influence on the. I don't think I saw that it explicitly.
Yeah. It was the first. It says that it's the first one. It introduced the build, defend, repair cycle of modern tower defense games. And it's interesting because the genre kind of took off. This came out in 1991, and then it got like real mainstream when it was tower defense mini games were included in Final Fantasy 6 and 7.
Okay.
And then obviously everybody remembers the tower defense boom of the late 2000s with Flash games like Bloons and Bloons 2 and Bloons 3 and so on, when it kind of just took the internet by storm and everybody was defending their towers.
Yeah, tower defense is fun. I like that concept, that idea.
Yeah.
I'm more of like I've never played Bloons.
What do you mean you never played Bloons? I got like Bloons 5 on my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of like traditional like little monsters running down the path, and you have like pre-made area. Like Defense Grid is a modern version of like the kind of tower defense that I'm a big fan of.
That's what Bloons is like.
Okay. And so you could put Rampart on our list for the greatest retro gaming series of all time.
Yes, that was a Patreon exclusive episode
for Super Worth It or Worthless All Stars Deluxe. And so I started playing some tower defense games to capture some footage, and I got into Plants vs. Zombies, and I was like, I like this game.
Yeah.
There's something about Plants vs. Zombies that's fun.
And you wouldn't have had that without Rampart. So that's one of the things I love about this game, is that it was, it's not often that you get to like look at a game and say like, this is the one that kicked off the trend. Granted, tower defense isn't, 2D platforming or whatever. It's not like that like massive genre that everybody knows about, but it is a genre in its own right that many people know and love.
Yeah, I mean, this game feels to me a little bit like Castlevania 2, where it's like, this is a rough draft of something that was going to get really good later.
We should probably explain what the actual gameplay of this game is like, because I'm going to guess like 2% of people have ever played this.
2%.
Yeah. So if you want to picture this in your head, you have a field with a bunch of castles, and the game starts, you pick a castle and it builds a wall around it. The game just builds a little wall, and then you place some cannons in there.
All around your castle,
yes.
in like a square.
You've been surrounded by a wall. Then you get to place some cannons in there, and that's your build phase. Now it's going to go into the attack phase, where if you're in single player, you're trying to blow up ships out in the ocean, and if you're in multiplayer, you're trying to blow up your opponent. It goes for like 15, 20 seconds, and then it stops, and now you have 15 to 20 seconds to repair your walls.
Which have been damaged by 2-ton cannonballs.
Yes, the manual says that the cannonballs are 2 tons, which seems like that defies the laws of physics for a cannonball to be 2 tons, but just going with what the manual says. Your walls have been destroyed, and now you're going to get like 20 seconds to fix your walls, but you're not just getting like straight up rectangular pieces. You're getting, they're not Tetris pieces per se, but they're kind of like
some of them are.
Some of them are just like one little dot. They might be 2 or 3. Some of them are like crazy Tetris shapes or pentomino shapes, and you have all of these, and you're like frantically trying to build your walls. You have to totally encase your castle in a wall again, and then once that phase is over, you get to build your towers, and then the whole thing goes again, and you keep fighting until you've destroyed your enemy or they've destroyed you. Or if you're unable to build your wall around your castle before the time runs out, you lose. If your walls aren't all the way around your castle, apparently you're dead. You're just dead.
And if you are efficient and you wall up another castle, because there's usually like 3 or 4 on the field, you'll get even more cannons to place inside of your walls.
Yeah, you're always trying to expand your territory and build more cannons and destroy your opponent, and it's kind of that cycle of build, defend, and repair.
Yep. Yeah, it's the pieces. I mean, I guess we'll get into this later, but like the pieces are pretty random.
Yeah, they're pretty random.
It's you have to
hope for the best.
That's a good way of putting it.
And place them strategically.
Yeah, but it's pretty simple overall. I was playing it, in prep for this episode, and then like, is there more? And it doesn't seem like, as we played for, what did we play? Another 2 hours today.
Yeah.
We played the arcade version on the Midway Classics collection on Xbox 360 or whatever it's called. And then we played the NES version. And it seems like pretty much Rampart is you build and you repair your walls and repeat.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
Another thing that happens too, like that, I mean, may or may not be obvious, is like you have to wait till your cannonballs land to be able to shoot again.
Yeah.
So you're strategically based. So the pieces, since they're random shapes, you might want to like try to poke like single holes in your opponent's walls to kind of make it harder for them to repair.
Yeah, if you destroy all of your opponent's walls, it's going to be pretty easy for them just to slapdash, throw up a square around their castle. If you leave a bunch of random pieces up, now they have to try to build around those, and it's super annoying, and that's when they get into trouble. So there's definitely some strategy there. There's some puzzle element with the pieces, so it kind of smashes together a shooting genre with a puzzle genre, and that is actually another thing that I think the game does well. In an era of games that constantly chased fads, like you had, somebody would make something cool and everybody would be like, I'm going to make a clone of that cool thing. That's why you got like a million different shoot 'em up games or a million different beat 'em up games. This game in 1990 was doing something very different. It's like, what if we took a shooting game and a puzzle strategy game and smashed them together? And I like that it combines those two things.
One of the things that I have that the game does well is it is definitely a unique premise.
Yeah.
I mean, even for tower defense, I would say it's a pretty unique premise because it's like, I mean, it definitely has that arcadey, not Space Invaders, but like you're shooting at something, you're guiding a cursor around the screen and shooting.
Yeah.
But it's like you also have this lose condition where you have to keep your castle surrounded.
Yep.
And it's like this really hectic build phase where you're like hoping for the best to repair your walls, and like there's something about it that's really interesting, and I have never played a game quite like Rampart.
Yeah, when I found this, I was like, man, I want to play some more of these like old school kind of tower defense games, and there really isn't a whole lot else like this until you start to see some spin-offs later in the 90s.
Well, even like what spin-offs are you even talking about?
Well, that's the thing. Like, so you started getting them as like mini games. So when they included tower defense mini games in Final Fantasy 6 and 7, like those were two of the like first big examples of it like making its way into the mainstream. Oh, okay. If you can call Final Fantasy 6 and 7 the mainstream.
I mean, has anybody ever really played those games?
No, people have played them, but like,
have they though?
You can show can show Cloud to a random mom on the street and she's not going to know who that is. It's not like Mario or like Pac-Man or Donkey Kong where like you can show a grandma and she's going to say, oh, that's a red Luigi.
What is happening right now?
Rampart.
Jordan, another thing that I have that this game does well, it's got that just one more try feeling.
It does.
It like really does.
I played a lot of this game by myself in single player. Today was the first time I ever played multiplayer, and in single player I would lose. I'd be so close, and then you just need one more little piece to fill the gap, and then you can't do it and it ends. It's like I can't go out on that, so I got to play one more. And then in multiplayer, there's always like that. Oh, you weren't better than me. I just misplayed that one piece. We need to go again, and it's like that kind of thing of like I don't like remember ever playing a lot of multiplayer NES games. I wish I would have had this when I was a kid because we would have gone nuts for this.
Yeah.
Almost all of the NES games that I had when I was a kid were single player, and I would have loved to have this because we could have gone all day with my brothers playing this game.
Yeah, man. It's just there's something about it like which piggybacks into like another point that I have is it has quick rounds.
Yeah.
Like these aren't like long drawn out games. It's like you fail and it's like, do you want more firepower? And I think you lose after the
so if you defeat
number of rounds
in multiplayer, if you defeat your opponent 3 times, they just lose. You also at the beginning, it's kind of nice. You have an option screen that lets you choose how many rounds do you want to go. So if everybody keeps managing to build their walls around their castle by the end of the round, it'll go whatever you picked, 5 or 7 rounds.
Yeah.
But if you defeat your opponent 3 times, boom, they're done. It's over. So it doesn't take long though, because each section of like the build and attack sections are each like 20 seconds long, and then you get like 10 seconds to place your towers. So it's really, the rounds are not long.
Yeah, I feel like how long did we probably played for like almost 2 hours, right? Yeah. Hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And it kind of flew by.
Yeah.
And we could have played more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If I wanted to.
Yeah, I had a little bit of an advantage over Dan, but he held his own, and he got me a couple times.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that. What else do you have?
Yeah, that's it for me. I mean, I was going to talk more about the multiplayer, but we kind of mentioned that last thing. I love that it has the multiplayer. It's not something that is typical of NES games. I think the fact that multiplayer even has options, like I never realized, because I've never played multiplayer, that in multiplayer you can blow up your opponent's cannons, which is a big deal because your cannons are the way that you do damage to everything.
I tried to damage yours in the arcade version, and it didn't seem to work.
So maybe not in the arcade version, but in the NES version, you have the option of choosing how many shots destroys a cannon, and the default is 12. It takes a lot of shots to destroy a cannon, but you can put it down to 4 or even 2, or you can make it infinite where cannons you just can't touch them. And I think that giving those options in the multiplayer gives you a different it gives you some replayability. When you complete a multiplayer match, it'll let you choose like a new map, so you're not always playing the same map. You get some variation in there. And as somebody who has played a lot of Rampart over the last year but has never played multiplayer, I came in today and I really enjoyed the multiplayer options.
I don't have anything else, Jordan.
All right, let's move on to the section that you're really gonna enjoy.
I'm good. Are you?
You,
they,
Dan.
the listeners? I'm really gonna.
The singular you, yeah.
Okay, the royal you. All right, let's move on. All right, Jordan, the first thing that I have in what the game doesn't do so well, it's not the first thing. I don't even know if this should be on my list anymore.
You're really starting off with a solid thing here.
It's a note that I took. Blood pressure is up.
Oh, this got your blood pressure. It did. You were getting a little spicy.
I was quite the spicy nugget when we were playing this game.
So as in pretty much every strategy game and most puzzle games, there is like a level of like frustration of when you don't get the things you need to accomplish what you want to do, because you don't have total agency over what's going to happen. There is a level of randomness to there. And so there were times when Dan just really needed one specific piece to finish his castle, and he got about 8 pieces in a row that were not the right piece and weren't even playable on his board.
Yeah, so the problem is like you get these pieces. Another point that I have that's like actually valid is like the random blocks make it hard to plan sometimes.
Yes.
And so I would say like one of the really nice features that Tetris has is like it shows you the next piece that's coming on the side of the screen.
Yeah.
This game doesn't give you nearly enough information.
Yeah.
To plan effectively. And so I think that actually really holds the game back, because it feels like, now I haven't played a ton of this game. I've probably played 3 to 4 hours of Rampart now.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot for like what this game is.
More than most people.
Right. But I still feel like I'm not in control of my fate as much as I would like to be.
Yeah. You have to be very strategic when you're picking what castle you want, when you're placing your cannons, because as the game goes on and as your walls get destroyed, it gets difficult to maneuver around all of that stuff and enclose your castle at the end of each round. And it can be really frustrating. It would be awesome. I totally agree. It'd be awesome if they had a strip at the side, because both players are getting the same pieces in the same order. It would be awesome if they put a strip in there that showed you here's what's coming up next, and you could plan a little bit better.
Yeah, and I have also like the pieces don't quite seem intelligent enough. Like I wish it was like reading it. Maybe it is, but I wish it felt like it knew how many single squares I need.
Oh no, it's just totally random. There's no way it's checking what you need.
So, and that feeds into another point that I have, is the battlefield should be a bit bigger. Like if a lot of the castles are so close to the wall, it's like, or just like give me the option to make the grid bigger.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, you're giving me this piece that's, let's call it 5 squares big or whatever, and I need one that's 3 squares big because I'm right up against the wall, and the Z shape is putting me off the border. Like it's like the movement in the NES version, and I mean the 360 gamepad doesn't feel good to play this on it's a trackball game.
The arcade version uses a trackball, and so if you're trying to go play the arcade version on a collection or on like using a joystick or whatever, it's not going to feel good.
Yeah. So it's like I just needed the battlefields to be a little bit bigger to help me deal with some of the chaos of these random pieces.
I will say that the D-pad actually controlled pretty good for the NES. Like we got way less frustrated using the D-pad on the NES than we did with the Xbox controllers.
Another nice thing on the NES, at least in the battle phase, is pressing the B button makes your cursor move faster to attack.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Unfortunately, you can't move it faster when you're like rebuilding your walls, which is when it would be super helpful.
Yeah. Although you kind of want to be a little bit
pieces.
Yeah, you want to be a little bit more precise. And that's the downside of the NES only having 2 buttons. I did see on the Super Nintendo version, some of the maps are bigger and you can like scroll. The screen actually scrolls. They did a whole bunch of Mode 7 stuff. I guess the Super Nintendo one adds a whole bunch of stuff. Like if you want to like combine 3 of your cannons and it makes a hot air balloon that like can attack from the sky. So they added a whole bunch of stuff.
Man, every version is so different than the others.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
It's less of like a game and more of like a platform that the devs were able to experiment in different ways on different consoles.
I was playing the Famicom version, and like it gives you campaigns, and it's like different difficulties give you different story modes, and it's like I was playing this Little Red Riding Hood defending the forest from like wolves and mice.
Yeah.
And I had like, I don't know, elves or something that were like throwing stones.
Yes.
And then the medium is like a medieval scenario, and then the hard is like a samurai scenario or something.
Yeah. So if you really want like the definitive like best version of this game, Konami made the Famicom version. Yeah. It has great music, great art, great sprites. It has all these different modes. It's in Japanese, so you want to probably play this on a Retron and load up a patch. Somebody has made an English translation patch, which you could play it in English. I don't know that you really need it unless you really want the story of Rampart, but the Famicom version made by Konami is supposed to be very good. I've never played it, but Dan has it now.
I don't think that you need the English. I don't think you need to play it in
You weren't
in
missing
English.
out on the story.
No. I mean, you might not be able to like read the options, but I think that you'd be okay to just play this one in Japanese.
Yeah, I would
It's
imagine
one of
you
those.
would be able to.
But getting back to what the whatever NES/arcade versions don't do so well, and I kind of alluded to this, is not as many options as I'd like to see in general. Like, for example, I would like to be able to increase the time between waves. Like, give me like another 10 seconds, because there were so many times when I'm like screaming because I just don't have enough time.
You
It's
need
like
one more piece. You just need one more piece.
well, you don't even need one more piece. Like, you don't have the time to plan is the problem. And it's like
it's all on quick twitch muscles.
it's
Dan.
like, goodness, if this is going to be a strategy game, like I should be able to employ some strategy instead of like there's some element of fun to the chaos of like, my friend like decided to strategically put holes in my wall and make it very hard. That's fine, but I would like to be able to sort of react a little bit more. I would have liked to see at least the ability to change the time. But,
yeah, that'd be definitely a good option. That'd be an awesome option to add.
So
something that really bugs me is that the water gets in the way of everything. So when you're trying to build, you'd think, I can just scroll this piece over the river that's here. But no, when your piece hits the water, it just stops dead and you have to go around it. And that's kind of annoying.
When time is a premium, it's like extra frustrating.
Yes. You're like, I'm stuck. I'm stuck on the water. And so I didn't love that.
Well, that's with the whole, I wish I could accelerate it during the build phase. Cause it's like, okay, you gave me a giant piece. I've got a bunch of clutter because the pieces get put together randomly sometimes. And you just, I don't know. It's like, so if I want to just throw this piece away, which that should be another feature in this game, is like, can I just throw it away?
Yeah, you have to like scroll over to an
pieces,
empty part
please?
of your map and try to drop it somewhere.
Or give me like the classic Tetris, like let me hold the piece.
Yes. There's so many things it could steal from Tetris to make this so much better. Give
It's a
you
rough draft, man,
the
I'm telling you.
give you the hold pieces. I really think
Give us Rampart 2, Atari.
Yes, seriously, make a modern one and take some of the stuff that modern, like come back and say like, hey, we started the tower defense genre and now we're going to come back and take some of the pieces that future people came along and brought and like we're going to give you the ultimate Rampart experience. Yeah. I would love that.
Third person, open world.
4K. That's the problem with Tetris. We don't have enough 4K Tetris. Isn't that basically just Tetris Effect?
Make the cannons first person shooter.
If this isn't in VR, I don't want it.
Rampart in VR. You're manning the walls of your castle.
You are the 2-ton
You are the
cannonball.
walls?
No, you're the 2-ton cannonball.
Oh, man. One last thing, Jordan, that I think I have on
Let's hear
what
it.
the game does not do so well. Sometimes the aiming at the AI ships in single player can be like really frustrating. It seems like they are like, oh, you shot at me, I'm going to turn around. It felt like they didn't. There's so much of this game where I just like, I need more space to think.
Yeah, so with the ships, when you're playing single player mode, there's these ships, and the manual does tell you to aim for the front of them. You want to try to like lead them with your shots.
You don't have time to look at anything in this game. That's the problem. Like you just don't. There's so much chaos where you're just like, I don't know what's going. And it's like 15 seconds, and you're like, I got to rebuild my walls. The ships are shooting at me again. Oh, why is there's now ships in multiplayer shooting at us that we had nothing to do that weren't in the previous maps?
Love that.
What is happening?
So there's definitely a learning curve to single player
That's
mode.
what Rampart feels like, is everything that just came out of my mouth.
In the beginner stages of Rampart, you like the ships don't move very fast or they don't move at all, and you can kind of just blow them up. And then as you go, they start moving faster. They start moving more erratically. There's like these ships that shoot fireballs at you. There's landing ships that come and drop guys on the ground that'll come and attack your castles. So it just keeps getting harder and harder. I think I've only beaten the sixth stage, the final stage of the game, one time. But I've played it many, many times. I've gotten to that final stage a lot. It's very difficult. It's a weird shape. It's hard to keep your tower surrounded. So there's definitely a level of difficulty here, and it is a little bit of a learning curve. But the early levels aren't too bad.
Yeah. I mean, the game is fun.
It is
It's
fun.
like there's something about it that I'm like, I was as I was like playing the Famicom campaign on easy, I was like, this is
it's charming.
Yep. there's something that I'm enjoying about this experience. I liked that one more try feel.
Yeah.
But as somebody, we've talked about this in the past. With the kinds of games that I enjoy, I like failure to be more my fault than sometimes
Yeah.
I don't like bad RNG.
Yeah.
I don't like it to feel, and like I'm saying, I've only played a few hours of this game. I don't know if there's something that hasn't clicked with it yet, but it feels completely random to me in a lot of ways. And it feels bad.
We need a Rampart roguelike. We need that. I need that in my life. Can somebody out? I hope somebody out there be a developer and make that game. I'll buy it for you. You can have my $2.
Yeah, I mean, I need more control over my outcomes in this game than it feels like I have.
I can see you wanting that.
Yeah, that's just a me thing, you know.
I know. All right.
That's all I have, Jordan.
Same.
All right, let's move on to the rest of our show. So, Jordan.
Dan.
If you were walking up to a Play Choice 10 and it had...
I don't want to play the arcade version of this, and I don't think Play Choice 10s have a trackball, so we're going with the NES version here.
Is it that like a valid option for a Play Choice 10?
Yeah, I guess Play Choice 10 would be NES games. Fair enough.
I'm disappointed, Jordan. I finally made the dumb Play Choice 10 joke.
And it was
an literally
NES game.
An NES game.
And I bit and went the wrong way.
You just missed it.
All right. Anyway.
Whatever. What would you pay?
Yeah. This is an interesting one.
How many quarters would you put in that Play Choice 10?
Oh, we're going quarters because I think this is interesting. This is one of the very, very rare occasions where I've actually bought this game, which is unreal. And I bought it for you. So I like this game a lot. This legitimately is one of my favorite NES games. I don't love a lot of NES games because they aren't fun to me.
Okay.
This game is fun to me. I wish I would have had this when I was a kid. I would love to play this more.
Yeah.
I would love this to be on my Switch. I wish I could download this on my Switch. And I would pay money for this. It's hard because like if I really was going to pay to have it, I'd want the Famicom version just because you get the story and the better music and graphics and everything.
Because it's very important in Rampart.
No, but just like it would be cool.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not quite $10, but I'd say like $8. $8. $8. I really like this game. It's this is the thing. If we're going like pure like me putting quarters into a machine, I've done
32 tokens at Chuck E. Cheese into the Rampart machine.
Yeah, I've put so many more than 8. So like I could go up to $10.
$10.
But probably 8.
Probably 8. We'll call that 9.
No. If I actually saw this somewhere, I would straight up put a $10 bill down.
Wow.
I like this game. I like this game a lot.
Interesting.
I think part of it is when I was in high school and college, I played a lot of tower defense games. And so this kind of just like being a prototype of the genre, I like that.
I feel like I'm learning more about you lately because when we did the greatest retro gaming series for Patreon, you were like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I'm learning about you as a gamer. It only took us 3.5 years, but I'm starting to understand where you're.
I'm telling you right now, Dan, next time I get to pick a game, I'm picking Roller Coaster Tycoon. Straight up. It's on the App Store. I'll buy you the disc so it fits the qualifiers of being a game in your collection. I love that game. It's so much fun. I have it on my phone. I have it on my iPad.
Oh, man.
Love that game.
Goodness. All right. For me, where am I at in Rampart? Because like I was yelling at it when you weren't here.
Yeah,
I was
can
playing
imagine.
by myself, and I was like,
I could hear you 4 blocks away.
Because it's like, I think part of the reason why I was getting a little bit frustrated is because the NES, some of the collisions a little bit weird.
Well, it's the NES.
Yeah, so you don't quite know what part of the wall you're supposed to aim at.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It doesn't lock on. It's not like a perfect grid system.
Well, like you had walls that were against the edge of the map.
Yes.
So I was like, let me just throw my cursor all the way as far as it'll go.
Oh, and then they were going too far.
And it wasn't damaging your wall. And I'm like, why? How is your wall not on the edge? It just didn't make sense to my brain.
We should say, yeah, that is, the collision's a little weird. We should say, though, that Dan, you're usually such a stickler for being upset about frame rate and all that kind of stuff. This game has buttery smooth 60 frames per second. Even in multiplayer, it's so smooth. No sprite flicker, which is
who cares?
Legendary on the NES.
Right.
So just throwing this out there, this is not.
It's a single screen game. If it had sprite flicker, that'd be a little questionable.
I know. I'm just saying, if you want that modern experience on NES, this is it.
Oh yeah. Where am I at? Gut $6.
This is one of those extremely rare occasions where my money is higher than Dan's.
Yeah. Knowing what I know about the arcade version, if I'm walking into an arcade, I'm not gonna play this game probably.
Well, no, I think
unless it's on free play.
It'd be fun to play it with the trackball and see how that improves the experience.
But I mean,
the arcade version is 3 players, which would also seem kind of fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to pass on Rampart at the arcade. The NES version, I'm going to say $6.
When you and I go to Galloping Ghost, we're going to track down Rampart and play it.
Okay. Maybe someday.
Yeah,
I'll
someday.
just buy you the arcade machine.
No,
put it in
that's okay.
your
I don't have anywhere to put
shed. Maybe when the arcade 1-up version, the Atari.
Yeah, of course. They're going to put out a game with 3 trackballs.
You never know.
All right. You said 6. I said 8.
What do you think the internet? What do you think? We have 6 prices that I've
this is hard because I did buy the Famicom version for you this year.
Yes,
and I know that was less than $10.
Let's start there.
Okay.
What do you think that Famicom version is going for?
I think I paid $8 plus shipping from Japan, which was like $4.70 something. So we'll call it $8. I'm pretty sure that's what I paid for it.
$6.
Boom.
The Famicom version,
which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Buy that if you're even remotely interested in this and you have a Retron or something that can play Famicom games. $6. That's worth it.
All right, let's go to the NES version, Jordan, that you bought me a year ago.
Okay, I think that was a little bit more. I think that was like $12.
I think it was $12. That was going for $19 currently.
Oh, it's gone up. Well, everything's gone up.
Yeah, let's get that 2021 premium on it.
That's crazy, especially if you can get the Famicom one for so much cheaper.
Super Nintendo version, Jordan.
Oh, this one is a warning. Only buy this if you enjoy Mode 7, because apparently the entire game is Mode 7, which is like the fake 3D thing that they tried to do on the Super Nintendo. I have no clue. I'm going to say $23.
$21.
All right, there you go.
A good guess.
Thank you.
Proud of you. You're on.
I've been doing this for 3 years now.
You're on the money today.
Ooh, that's a good pun. That's a good pun.
No, it's not a good pun.
All right.
Genesis version, cardboard box version. The Genesis. There were 2. It's what?
Yeah,
I gotta
nobody
figure this
knows.
out. I gotta figure this out.
Let us know, because we keep getting trapped up on this. What's
I
up
gotta
with
see if there's a YouTube video or something on this.
Cardboard box versus the plastic ones?
Yeah, like why would, if it's loose, and that's the problem, as on PriceCharting, which is where all the prices come from. Shout out to PriceCharting. The loose cartridge price is like the regular version or the cardboard box version. If it's a loose cartridge,
it's a different serial number probably, or a different label maybe.
Okay.
Maybe,
but probably not.
It's the same game most likely. Anyway, so the Genesis one, I'm gonna say $11. I haven't heard good things about the Genesis one though. Really? So no, I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna say $6.
Wow, $7.
Oh, see, I'm glad I adjusted.
So
I adjusted.
So close. All right, Jordan, let's go visit our friends in the PAL region.
What console?
Master System.
Master System,
that old classic.
Oh, I feel like they have so many castles there that they would appreciate this game. Like,
what?
The PAL region is where castles were invented.
Okay.
So they're gonna be double. We're gonna go $12 on that one.
That's $9.
$9. Okay. It was more than 7. It was more than 7.
All right, Jordan. Last price I have. The PAL NES version.
Oh, I don't think we hear that often. PAL NES. So it was 19. I'm going to go 29.
No. You want to take another crack at it?
No, I don't want to.
No?
Is it higher?
It is higher.
39.
$48 for the NES PAL version.
I'm sorry to our friends in the PAL region. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's bananas. All right, so the version we were focusing on, though, the NES version.
Yeah, $19.
I got to call that worthless.
I have to say worthless at that. That's really a bummer. It used to be a lot cheaper. I bet you if you're a person who goes out and looks at retro game shops, my guess is they're not tracking the price on Rampart, and if they have a copy...
It might have been sitting there for a while.
It might have been sitting there a while, and you can probably get it for single digits, and at that, it's worth it. I would say if you're really interested in this and you have a Retron or something that can play Famicom games, pick up the Famicom version for $6. That's a steal.
Yeah.
You're going to have a good time with it, and if you're really worried about the Japanese, you can load up translation. Actually, Nintendo Life did a whole review of the English translation of Rampart, which I think is what keyed me in on the whole Famicom Konami version. So if you want to know more about it, they got you covered.
Yes. Jordan, do we have trivia today?
I do. I have one trivia
Rampart
question here.
Trivia. Where did you find Rampart trivia on the internet?
The manual.
Okay.
The Rampart Manual.
Shout out to the
Didn't
Rampart
even need the internet for this
Manual.
one. Actually, yeah, I didn't even need
Nobody on Instagram had. Did you ask?
I did not ask for this one. There's just some games that you're not going to get a response to. You don't want to put yourself out there to be hurt, so you just write your own trivia. All right, Dan. In the single player mode, some ships will drop land units onto the map. What are those land units called?
Mice.
No. I'm going to give you some options here. Are they A, tanks, B, grunts, C, toughs, or D, siege engines?
I think it's one of the first two. I can't remember, but you like
Tanks or grunts?
I feel like I saw one of those somewhere, but I don't.
There's
know.
no text in the game that describes these, so you would have had to see it. I
think I was watching the video of the Konami version translated.
This word did pop up on the Wikipedia page, I think, at least in one location. So,
man, I don't know. I want to say tanks.
it's not tanks. They do look like tanks.
Yeah.
They look like tanks, but they're called grunts.
Okay.
Grunts. Yep. Sorry, you failed.
That's fine.
I really thought you would have brushed up on your Rampart trivia.
Gosh, friggin' Rampart.
There you go. That's Rampart.
This game.
Yeah.
What do we do? We got we're still in the throes of no Thember Spiro mission. As we're recording this.
Oh, here, let me translate for you. Dan's trying to say we're recording this and it's still November, so we don't have a November
Spiro mission
bounty winner for you. But by the time you hear our next episode, we will have that winner and we'll tell you who it was.
That $20 eShop.
But this month,
if you want to, this month $20 eShop again, Jordan.
It's a. Everybody always loves that one as an easy go-to.
Yeah.
It's my birthday month, and I love the Switch eShop. I mean, 7 billion people have bought a Switch, so it's hard not to love the Switch eShop. $20, you could win it. All you have to do is send us a direct message on social media. Before we tell you all the places you should send
I was like,
we should tell you
let us tell us
what you're sending, which I think Dan came up with a really good one this month.
Yeah, so Jordan has been crying nonstop. I mean, well, since we started this podcast, but lately he's been like, Dan never lets me pick games.
Well, I mean,
so in honor of
we're 3 years in here now, and I got to pick one. This is my first one. So
no, this is not even true.
I can't wait for our 6th year when I get to pick Roller Coaster Tycoon.
You picked some last year.
I can't remember.
You picked Zombies Ate My Neighbors in honor of Halloween.
No chance that I picked that.
You did. And then the other
coerced.
one you picked that month. You know what? I'm going to look it up.
No.
I don't have your fast skills
is
for searching podcasts.
If I picked something, it was out of a very small list that you delivered to me.
That's not true. You picked Tetris and Dr. Mario is the other one.
Okay, there's a good chance I picked Tetris.
Okay.
Which, if I recall, was one of our best episodes ever.
According to who?
According to the analytics, Dan.
No, that's not...
Everyone loves Tetris. Everyone loves Dr. Mario so much so that they put out Dr. Luigi on the Wii U.
Come to find out, Jordan, shout out to the Wii U. I've been appreciating the eShop over there. Okay. Why was I on the eShop on the Wii U the other day? Because after we were talking about the e-reader on the Game Boy Advance, I remembered like, oh, they put out Mario 3 levels for the Game Boy Advance that were e-reader exclusive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think now might be the time for me to just really go through the headache of buying an e-reader off eBay.
No.
Seeing the cards. The cards are all like ridiculously expensive. Apparently, the Wii U release of Super Mario Advance, was it 4 with Mario 3, has the e-reader levels built into the game. So I was like, let's do this.
Yes, it was really interesting because you sent me a message on the same day that we got a social media message from Evan G. Shout out to Evan G, who let us know that you can play the e-reader levers on this Wii U version.
That was very funny because I was like, this is amazing. And you're like, we got a DM that's telling you that.
I was like, in the process of texting you to let you know about this message we had just gotten.
Yeah. So I see the Dr. Mario viruses.
Yes. Viri.
On some kind of
Luigi.
No. It was like the sections. It was like the front page of the eShop.
Oh, it has its own section. Dr. Mario gets his own section.
Well, no, and it was like budget games or something, or like Wii U exclusives, or like some. It was some eShop exclusives. I think it was like basically digital games that were only released on the eShop, and it was
Wii U trash.
Of the Dr. Mario viruses. I was like, what Dr. Mario game was on Wii U?
Yeah,
and I got to like the third or fourth page. And then it was like Dr. Luigi. I was like, what?
Dr. Luigi.
Like, why?
I love that there was 4 pages.
Why did nobody tell me there was a Dr. Luigi?
So now you guys know. You have to. This is your assignment. Next time a weird game is made, make sure Dan knows about it. We can't let, for all 13.5 million of us Wii U owners, we can't go and letting those gems slide through the cracks.
Goodness. Now I'm like, I need to check out Dr. Luigi.
Anyway,
but I don't know if it's worth.
All that to say, you can get a $20 eShop code, which you can use on your Wii U or on your Switch or on your 3DS.
Does your wallet work across all
your
of the things?
Nintendo account.
Okay.
Works for all of the eShops, yeah.
So, in honor of Jordan and his incessant complaining about never picking games, even though he never asks to pick games.
I would love to pick a game.
Yeah, well, you did. And
I know, it was a good one.
Yeah, then you also gave us the options for the next one. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
Are we even talking today? I feel like everything is taking forever to say today. Okay. Send us a DM with Jordan's favorite game, but wrong answers only.
Wrong answers only. What's my favorite game? If this is the only episode you've heard of the podcast, you've got plenty to go on, I think. And if you've been a longtime listener, you've got a lot to go on. So send us a DM. Yeah. What's my favorite game? Wrong answers only. And you can send it to @WIOW Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. You can also send us an email
at worthitoworthlesspodcast@gmail.com.
You can send Dan or myself a DM on Discord, where you can find the link to that in the show description. I think that's it. All those places. You can send us it. We'll get you on the list. And at the end of the month, we'll draw a winner. And you could be the new owner of $20.
Yeah. And if you join us on a $20 North American eShop code. Specifically North American. Also, details will be in writing in the podcast description as well. And a note about Discord, Jordan. If they join us on Discord and chat, they'll be leveling up on there to potentially earn up to 3 extra bounty entries.
Those bonus ones only get tabulated if you submit an actual entry.
That's true, yes. So if you want to win that, join us on Discord. Come hang out.
Speaking of joining us places.
Speaking of George, I was trying to think of a way to mix your name with Segway.
Jordway.
Jaggings.
Say again.
Jordan, we did allude to you making the choices for the next game.
Yeah.
We did that on a Patreon poll. We got a Patreon now.
Yes, and one of the great perks of Patreon is you can vote on some of our episodes. We're going to give you some options, and you can pick them. I put together a little list of games from Dan's collection that I'd be interested in playing for our next episode, but we're giving the power to you guys. And do we know it's currently winning, Dan?
The poll has ended.
It's ended.
The power is just come and gone.
There it is.
Let's see what our choices were here, Jordan. We had Mario Kart 64. We had F-Zero for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
We had Super Mario Strikers for the GameCube.
Yep.
And then we had Bible Adventures for the NES.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And Jordan was lamenting the fact that I put this poll out before his birthday, or before my birthday, because he got me Punisher for Genesis.
Yeah,
for my birthday,
we'll get there.
Proud
We'll get
owner
there.
of that. He was like bummed that didn't make it in the poll, but
It's all right.
so we will.
We definitely
at some
will
point.
play it at some point.
Marvel Movember.
Sure. Any month. We can put it in there.
Bible Adventures won the poll.
I'm so pumped about that.
55% of the votes went to Bible Adventures. 33% went to Mario Kart 64, and 11% went to Super Mario Strikers.
Yes. There we go. So that's what we'll be playing for our next episode later in the month. And if you're like, man, I want to vote on stuff, you can join us on Patreon and get all sorts of cool stuff.
Early access to this show. You get a monthly podcast of Super Worth It or Worthless All Stars Deluxe, which is like a different retro gaming podcast that we're doing. Yeah, it's a retro game podcast.
Yeah.
You don't just throw. Never mind.
You can just throw you in wherever you want.
Yeah, you get a merch discount. We got T-shirts going on now. Yeah, if you want to join us on Patreon, link will be in the podcast description.
Yes.
Hope to see you there. What else we got, Jordan? Anything?
I think that's it.
You think that's it? Oh, so this episode comes out on the public feed on the 7th. The 10th, we'll be releasing the second episode of Super Worth It or Worthless on Patreon, which is going to be our Retro Game of the Year awards.
Oh, yeah.
So that should be an interesting conversation.
Our very own award show. It's going to be
Yeah.
a good time. We've been chatting about it. We got some great ideas, and so don't miss out on that.
We might... We're not going to. We talked about emailing. Maybe that's what we should do. Mailing little trophies to developers for like 20-year-old games.
Don't tempt me. Depending on what wins.
From a podcast they've never heard of.
Hey, congrats.
For the game
You won
they made 20 years ago.
You won the 1986 Game of the Year award.
Yeah. Well, it's called the 2021-2001 Game of the Year, etc.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a whole host of
We're going back
of
15,
awards.
20, 25 years to give out awards. It's a great idea. If you're skeptical,
You should be.
yeah, pay us money and then you can hear about it.
All right, my friend. Do you have anything else before we close it out with our music segment?
I think that's going to do it. I hope you guys all have an amazing My Birthday. And I hope that this podcast was just the best My Birthday present to you ever.
I gotta think of a monthly theme with your name.
Well, my birthday is Pearl Harbor Day. Maybe you could work that in.
No.
National tragedy.
No.
A day that'll live in infamy.
Your birthday's a national tragedy. All right, Jordan, let's just move on. Whatever.
Yep.
Today, closing out the show, we've got an Undertale remix, Jordan, called Home by Holder.
I don't know anything about Undertale besides the fact that my students love it and it has great music. So I'm excited to hear some of this music.
I started Undertale. It's one of those games where everybody was talking about it for a long time.
Yep.
And I got it on sale on the eShop for pretty cheap. I think it was like $7 or $8 at some point. And I was like, okay. I played maybe 2 to 3 hours of it. And I was like, I get it.
You get it.
I like this. This is goofy. This is fun.
Love it.
It's an RPG where you don't have to attack things. And apparently
Okay.
apparently there's multiple endings based on how much you attacked or didn't attack and stuff
Interesting.
like that. And it's really goofy. So I'm like, I want to play more of Undertale.
Well,
But here's some music from it.
Here it is.
Hope you
hope you love
I
it.
hope you like it. Yeah. All right. We will see you in 2 weeks with Bible Adventures.
See you then.
All right. Bye.